before with Matthew. It's more the mood on the bench in the last 5 or 6 minutes, right? There's that belief that it can happen. I don't think that quite captures it. It's there's an intensity on the bench about good things that could happen. So once we get to overtime, we feel pretty good. We get the kill, which was huge. Great block by Eric Stahl. And then we're looking for one shot. We've been good at that.
Right side, second row.
You want to ask who's starting the next game? You know what? That's unkind, but I appreciate that. Okay, let's move on.
Who is starting next game? No, I'm just kidding.
We're not sure.
Was it league protocol that took Matthew away for a while?
Yes.
Or it was? Okay, so
Correct.
concussion protocol.
Correct.
And when that is going on, how informed are you when you're in the middle of the action?
No, you're not informed at all. It's a complete shutdown. Right? The room goes into a quiet room. There's no checking when you're coming out. So you are completely in the dark on those. You don't know when the player's coming back. There's not an update.
Back left.
You glad he came back in? Back here. Glad he came back in?
It's after midnight. Yeah, it was fine.
A lot more structure. You had to be happy. I mean, not being down 2-1, but the structure of your team game, were you pleased with how you guys came
liked
out?
the first period. Didn't like the minutes that I had on people after 2. I've got Sam Reinhart at 17 and about 7 lows or even strength. Didn't like that at all. But we survived it.
Left side, second row.
Coach, over here, Jameson on FloridaPanthers.com. Just want to ask, so many big wins throughout this playoff run and in overtime. You guys are undefeated. What is it about this team in the biggest moments where you guys always seem to come out on top?
I think, might be a holdover from last year, not in terms of stuff. This is a team that scored an awful lot of goals. So just sitting in as individuals on the bench, they've had big goal moments, right? I think 24 comebacks last year. If that you would know better than I would, but I think that's the number. So you get to keep a little bit of that confidence, right? So there's guys on that bench that have scored in a comeback and a goalie pulled that feel it. Verhaeghe wants the puck, right? Why wouldn't he? So I think there's a little bit of kind of collective confidence from the past.
Front left.
Michael Russo from The Athletic. Why does Carter want the puck? What is it about him that allows him to keep on coming through in these moments? And did he keep you from getting fined tonight?
I think it was pretty good for 3 games. My wife's got a stone at home called the Roberts Diamond. Lance Roberts had a tough night once, right before Christmas. Didn't say a word. She's got a really nice stone called the Roberts Diamond. That's a fact. Carter would have that collective idea, right? He's over the course of his career has gotten a puck off his stick faster than somebody can react to it. So you get to overtime, nobody's beefing you for a better play. I'm wide open. Why didn't you hit me? Just shoot the damn puck.
Right side, front row.
I've asked you a couple times about Matthew Tkachuk over the last 2 months. What is he like in these games? What is he like on the bench? How does he attack games like this?
You know what? He's quiet. I felt there was a really big shift in his demeanor, but approach to the game right around January. So if you look at his block of time, notwithstanding the first 2 games of the Stanley Cup final, didn't take any penalties. He had 6 games, I believe, from January on. 4 of them were 2-minute minors. 2, his brother was involved with at least one of them, but there was a 17-minuter, and that was. But he's really kind of, I think, ascended to the idea of how important he is to our team, that he has to be on the ice and he has to play, and he's lived by that. Quiet. I mean, positive with his teammates for sure, but quiet.
Take a couple more questions on the right side, third row.
Greg Wyshynski, ESPN. Paul, you mentioned before the game you didn't want them chasing the physical game, going after checks. They obviously didn't do that tonight. How important was that in the win?
It's important for us in that we're a physical forechecking team as a starting point, but not as an end point. That can't be how you define your forecheck. I mean, we want to finish checks, and we've got probably 4 guys that are hitters, right? They're going to finish every check. And they do as well. And then there's a whole bunch of guys that could do both. And I felt that we were heavily weighted to finish every check and not weighted enough to let's just go with the puck. So I thought we had a good balance.
Steve Weiner, Associated Press, Paul to your left. Just you talked about kind of matchups.
It's a little dark on this side,
Right.
just so you had everybody in the front 5 rows that can't see your face.
And I'm a little short, so it's okay. But no, you said you didn't want to chase down matchups, but you got obviously the first goal, the Tkachuk line, maybe with the matchup you wanted, and then even later. How important is having that control at home and getting 5-on-5 offense from it?
It hasn't been important to us. And then in the 3 games, so game 2, there's no matchup for us because we're 11-7, and we had chunks of time where we lost forwards today. So it hasn't been as important. I think when you get 2 months into a playoffs run, the idea, you have this idea at the start, right? This kind of, this is what this line does, that's what that line does, this is our matchup. And if you stay with that, you'll miss the game. Because the line that you think is going to be your A line some nights just isn't, and then you'll get a Lundell line that has a huge night, and if you leave them in the 3-hole, you've missed an opportunity. So we've bounced a bunch of people around. We had a bunch of adjustments that we had to make because of Matthews' gap, and then the 475 penalties that were called in the game tonight. So we had to make some adjustments.